What's up, Hot Micers? We are back with a brand new live episode of the Hot Mic here on the Outlaw Nation channel. So much to get into, a lot happening in the world of entertainment this week, Jeff. We are ramping up as January is close to ending. February already, we're feeling that vibe of all this stuff happening here. Sundance is finished. The Oscars nominations have happened. The WGA nominations are happening. We're talking about so many things. Letterboxd is teaming with the Academy. What is going on? We got so much to untangle here in the world of entertainment. Let's introduce ourselves. I'm the Outlaw John Rocha, and joined as always by the Sneider himself, Jeff Sneider. How are you doing, Jeff?
I'm good, Johnny. Good to be back here in lovely Los Angeles where it's above 10 degrees.
Absolutely. And of course, a big shout out to Above the Line, who powers and sponsors us here on the Hot Mic. Head over to Above the Line and see all the great articles that Jeff has compiled and the great writers and reviewers that are there that are involved writing about everything going on in the industry as well. We're happy to be talking about some stuff here today. Jeff, are you strapped in? Are you ready? We got so much to get into. You know, we always have a limited amount of time. So where are you right now? Emotionally, mentally, you're back from Sundance. You said it's nice to be in sunny LA. How are you? Have you fully recovered? Are you back already hitting the streets and getting the scoops?
It was a long week. I think I stayed a day too late. And then it was just absolute madness getting back here last night. But so forgive me if I look like someone who slept about 20 hours in total this week. But yeah, I've got some interesting things to discuss and some news to drop. We'll start with the scoop if you want. I mean,
sure. Okay, we got 100 people joining us already right off the bat. So
do we wait for more people then?
I feel like we should wait for more people. We should. I'm going to hit you with some rapid fire stuff that has come over the wire over the last hour or so. We haven't even discussed this as a rundown, but I want to get your honest thoughts. Boom, boom, boom. All right, are you ready?
But before you do that, can we talk about the Oscar nominations first?
All right, fine. If you want to start with the Oscar nominations, we can start there. Let's get into the battle early. And just a reminder, StreamLabs and SuperChats are open. I see already 2 people have sent in StreamLabs. I'm going to pin, or SuperChats rather, I'm going to pin the StreamLabs address in the chat. Start sending it in now. This is a full show. So stay in your stuff now if you want it answered by Jeff and I before the time runs out. So Jeff, Oscar nominations, please take it away.
I mean, you know, they weren't terrible, but there were obviously some head scratchers, you know.
Yes.
Obviously, Andrea Riseborough seems to have come out of nowhere. And, when it's not the whole Academy voting on everything, right? Because each branch sort of nominates for its own. If there's 1,500 actors in the acting branch of the Academy, all you really need is like 200 or 250 people to put her number one on the thing. And I read a lot of like interesting conjecture about everything and how it's like, were awards pundits telling people like, oh, Viola Davis, she's a lock. Don't worry about her. She's going to get hers. Just put Andrea at number one. Same thing with Danielle Deadwyler. And so there was this assumption that some of these women were locks, right? Mm-hmm. Oh, they're going to get in anyway. So then I can vote for Andrea. And then look what happened. I don't think the Academy's racist. I think that, there's another issue, but let me get your thoughts first.
I don't know if you want my thoughts. We're going to start getting into it already right off the bat. I think it's absolutely ridiculous what happened with the Andrea Riseborough nomination. This is not a high school president fucking class race. This is supposed to be a kind of race.
Did you see the movie?
Huh?
Did you see the movie?
No, I did not see the movie. I'm talking about what happened. I'm not talking about whether she deserves it or not. I'm talking about what happened. That's the delineation here, okay? If the people honestly voted for her over Viola Davis, you got to take that. That's part of the job. But if you have a bunch of white, powerful actresses using their Rolodex and their influence and their money to get people to vote for her, and how many of those people actually watch the movie, and then you remove a woman of color from being nominated, black actress from being nominated, both Danielle Deadwyler and Viola Davis, that stinks to me, okay? And these liberal actresses, these liberal white people who are sitting there doing these things, to me, it tastes disgusting. And I don't like it at all. And don't tell me they didn't think that they or didn't think about the consequences or the possible repercussions of their actions, because the reason they were motivated to go get Andrea Riseborough nominated is because a lot of people weren't considering her in the analysis, just like you, just like other people. Nobody was thinking of Andrea Riseborough until this lady's got involved.
You're making a million assumptions here, literally a million assumptions.
Welcome to our job. What are you talking?
Right? So like it's like I obviously thought Danielle Deadwyler was excellent. I was never beating the drum for Viola Davis. I understood that, you know, she was certainly in the mix there, but
yeah, should have.
I thought Olivia Colman was more deserving from Empire of Light. Now I know
that's fair. I can accept that.
The thing about it, it's like when people are like, "Oh, Andrea Riseborough took away the nomination." Like, you don't get the nomination until you get the nomination. It's not yours just because you're penciled in on some pundit's list. What if it was Margot Robbie? What if Margot Robbie was number 6 and she was the one who didn't get in? You know, and
Margot Robbie would need a arm of powerful white actresses to come down and lobby for her, because everyone knows Margot Robbie.
Yeah, but people don't know Viola Davis. What are you talking about? Why couldn't, you know, Black Twitter or some Black celebrities have gotten behind Danielle Deadwyler in the way that, I mean, this campaign was driven by Mary McCormick. It wasn't driven by fucking Brad Pitt.
Kate Winslet was part of this. Don't give me that. It wasn't nobodies. There were a lot of powerful white women, white actresses who had connections.
They all took part in it, but it was driven by Mary McCormick, the wife of the director. And Mary McCormick starred in Howard Stern's movie, Private Parts.
Right.
So Howard Stern.
I like Mary. Mary's great. I love Mary. She's a good actress.
So I'm just saying, like, there was nothing preventing Danielle Deadwyler, like, you know, Will Smith from coming out and being like, you know what? I know I'm sort of persona non grata this season, and my movie isn't really getting nominated, but why can't I lift up Danielle Deadwyler? I didn't see any of that.
No, because if you're trying to compare the amount of fame that white actresses have versus black actresses, you're out of your fucking mind. It's not even close. It's a power vacuum. There's no way they could have influenced the Academy members to vote for Viola Davis or Danielle Deadwyler at the level to which these other powerful white women
has the same number of famous friends that Viola Davis does. And I saw Andrea Riseborough's friends mount a campaign for a grassroots campaign. And I didn't see Viola Davis's friends do that. Did you?
Maybe they felt they didn't need to because the work spoke for itself. But they assumed that there would be shenanigans.
A lot of work speaks for itself, John.
Yes, but shenanigans is shenanigans.
Here's the other thing with Till. There's a couple of things. MGM, not the greatest campaigner. Let's just throw
that's fair. Absolutely fair.
They had a lot of shit going on. They just joined with Amazon. You know, like, there's a lot of maybe dysfunction around the award stuff on that front. Bones and All didn't get anything. You know, like, it wasn't a great season for MGM, I would say. No offense to MGM. And the other thing is that Till is a tough sit. It was one of the last movies that I saw in 2022, and I saw it because Perry and Scott were really, you know, passionate about it. But if they weren't, then, you know, like, I don't know that I would have watched it, because it's like, why do I want to watch something like that? And I don't think it's because it's like about black characters. If it was a white kid who had been tortured to death and everything like that, like, it would have been just as tough to watch. Yeah.
Well, let me say that if you're looking at Till Leslie and Till, which one are you going to? Be honest.
Both tough to watch. I would watch Till first. I haven't seen Till Leslie, and I've had every opportunity to see Till Leslie. It's available on VOD. I haven't watched. I don't really want to spend an hour and a half with a drunk. So to me, I would put Till in my DVD player first.
Yeah. Okay. Good.
But I understand why a lot of Academy members may have been reluctant to press play on that screener. It's not a fun sit.
Yeah, and that needs to stop, because if that's what's happening, get the fuck out of the Academy. Honestly, if you can't watch a movie because it hurts your sensibilities, get the fuck out of the Academy. You don't belong there. You should watch everything so you can vote for everything. And you know how I feel about this, Jeff. I think every voter should have their ballot absolutely published in a newspaper or in the website, so that we all know who the fuck is voting for who. Because enough of this transparent hiding who you vote for type nonsense.
Do you feel that way about politics too? That we should all know, like, I should know whether my neighbor voted for Trump. Like,
politics is about the future of the country, not a gold statuette. It's the
what are the arts? The arts are the future of the country. I just don't understand. No, you don't need to publicize the votes.
Why?
I would like to see the vote totals. I would like to see the vote totals, but I don't need to know who fucking Steven Spielberg is voting for this year. That's none of my business.
I think it absolutely is your business if it is a sign of corruption, if it's a sign of people being influenced to vote a certain way.
That is when people. Did you see these fucking honest ballots with the Academy, John? People need the anonymity so that they can be honest about their selections. If they had to show their work, right? You think Steven Spielberg, even if he liked all the 4 white performances this year, think he's going to check all 4 of those on a public ballot? No. So it has to be secret. The vote totals should be revealed. I do think that would be interesting. Maybe at least the top 2 or 3 in each category. I don't need to know who is like 10th in Best Picture.
You're the same one that says to me, we can't get participation trophies soft, blah, blah, blah. People are soft. And you're going to tell me that these millionaires are scared to get a little public tongue lashing because of who they vote for in the Oscars. Either participation trophies or not. You can't have it per case basis. You got to believe in it all the way.
There's a difference. You're once again wrong. What? Okay, so moving aside from like there were no black actresses, other than Angela Bassett, who a lot of people think is the front runner to win Best Supporting Actress. Now, do you think that?
I don't know, to be honest with you. I don't know, because I think it was great to see her winning these organizations, but I haven't heard the groundswell amongst the areas that I usually hear it in when it comes to Best Supporting Actress. And, we know from the history of the Oscars, Best Supporting Actress is always an unpredictable category. Marissa Tomei, I'm calling you. It's you never know who's Mercedes Rule. You never know who's going to win this thing until they call the name out. So I've got a lot of questions about who I think is going to win Best Supporting Actress. It may still be Angela, but Stephanie Hsu getting in is a real big surprise. Hong Chow getting in was a big, real surprise. So I don't know. Jamie Lee Curtis may get a sympathetic vote. I don't know.
Angela Bassett obviously has a great narrative, and she was very good in Black Panther. I just have a very difficult time believing that the Academy is going to give it to a performance in a Marvel movie. I really do.
Especially for a first-time nomination for a Marvel movie. I think I might be.
Best Actor, we don't need to talk about who's going to win, but what did you think about Tom Cruise not getting in and Paul Mescal getting in?
Yeah, I was a little frustrated by that. Look, I'm sure Paul Mescal is a nice guy. I have not seen After Sun yet, although it's sitting right there. I'm absolutely going to watch a lot of these things over the next couple of weeks. But that being said, Tom Cruise, the Academy loves to stroke it for Paul Newman and for Al Pacino and give these honor. Nostalgia got them to nominate Spielberg for Fabelmans and shit. So you're going to tell me that Tom Cruise delivers a $1.5 billion movie, and not just like Transformers. This one had depth and real emotion and vulnerability and honest moments and growth of a character as he goes into his older age as a man. And you're going to tell me that didn't deserve a nomination over a young kid like Paul Mescal, who's got years ahead of him to get nominated for stuff. I just thought it was completely off base. And really, he's the only one I would remove to put Tom Cruise in. I liked every other person who was nominated. I think this is the Academy once again looking down on Tom Cruise, thinking he's just a movie star, not a real actor, and giving him shit. And I think that's unfair because he delivered a fantastic performance.
Yeah, I do worry about that. That like Tom Cruise, he hasn't like made that turn yet to prestige actor. He's still a movie star, and that's fine. Like, but this is a perfect movie star turn.
Yes,
like, as good as Paul Mescal was, like, I didn't think his work was undeniable. I didn't even think he was the best one in the movie. I thought that little girl was fantastic. So, it's just weird. I really think it is something personal. And I wonder if maybe they just saw, well, he's a producer on Top Gun. He's going to get a nomination anyways. We don't need to give him a second one this year.
It's this bias towards these stars that really gets my goat from these self-important people in the Academy.
Brad Pitt changed that. Like Brad Pitt's perception in the last few years, I feel like has changed.
Well, I think producing for Plan B, I think doing 12 Years a Slave, I think those things kind of change people's minds about you 100%. But look, they took Alan Arkin over Eddie Murphy, and Alan Arkin delivered nothing that he hadn't delivered before in Little Miss Sunshine in about 40 other movies. Eddie was transcended in Dreamgirls. Not a great movie, but his performance, fantastic. It just gets so... Stallone, you give it to Mark Rylance for Bridge of Spies? Right. I blinked and he was gone out of that movie. Stallone delivered incredible performance.
Point. This is good stuff that you're bringing up here.
Yeah.
These are good examples, too, of a bias against movie stars.
It's frustrating. It's arrogant. It's conceited. It's snooty. And it drives me nuts.
And then anything about like to say about women directors not getting in? I mean,
yeah, I was frustrated by that. And really, Jeff, I've been banging this drum for a few weeks now. For She Said, it's out on Peacock, people. I can't recommend it enough. I had another friend reach out to me today who's an avid watcher of movies. He said to me, I just watched She Said on Peacock. It is better than Spotlight, and 100% a better journalism movie than Spotlight. And 100% I agree with him. That's how I feel about this film. I thought it was totally overlooked. I can understand Till not being nominated, the Nigerian-American director there not being nominated. I can understand not a lot of people saw Till. But Gina Prince Bythewood, if that's Steven Spielberg, he gets nominated for The Woman King. It is so frustrating. That is women sitting around feeling oppressed. Come on. I mean, it's just so frustrating to see that we don't get Sarah Polley being nominated, even for a film that I maybe didn't think was 100% that great. But then The Woman King, I thought Gina Prince Bythewood did everything you were supposed to ask of a period film like that. Such a powerful film. The blackness was in your face, unapologetic. These are warrior women dealing with trying to end slavery in their tribe, and you don't reward it with anything. It was just insulting across the board. And again, The Fabelmans is a medium effort at best from Spielberg, and it does not deserve to be nominated for Best Director. Certainly Gina Prince Bythewood should have taken that spot, in my opinion. I
mean, I certainly think that from a directorial standpoint, The Woman King is more of an achievement than something like Triangle of Sadness.
Oh, Triangle of Sadness, yes.
Go to Spielberg, John. I think Spielberg did a better job than Gina Prince Bythewood, yes. But, Ruben Östlund, it's like, that's a writer's movie.
Yeah.
Even, and I was expecting McDonough to get nominated, but like Banshees, that's kind of a writer's movie too. Whereas Woman King is a director movie.
Right.
So I think that she has a case. She can be upset. I thought She Said was the fifth best film of the year, and by that math, Maria Schrader should have been nominated. But that's not the work that they reward. Okay, the same thing with Women Talking. That's not the kind of, they don't like to reward quiet, intimate movies like that, or at least it's very rare, especially when you have a plethora of other very well-directed movies. Someone like Joseph Kosinski didn't get in, or Cameron, right? So I think there was an embarrassment of riches this season, and that's the thing. People have to remember, it's like there's still only 5 slots. Like they just don't want everybody to get nominated, but it's like you can't.
Yeah, and this is something I said to you a few weeks ago, and you said it's ridiculous, but I'm going to hold by this. How I feel about this. If you're going to listen, there's a great article, I think it was in the Hollywood Reporter or Variety, talking about how the Academy has expanded the amount of films that they are looking at in ways that they haven't before. They've gone global. We've seen that with Ruben Östlund's nomination, All Quiet on the Western Front, Parasite, any number of examples over the last few years, right? So if you're going to increase or have a larger pool of movies, then for fuck's sake, increase the number of nominations. Enough already with this idea that 5 is somehow enough. You've made the cream of the crop of 5. Put it to 10. Even the college football playoff is going to 32 teams, for God's sakes. You can do.
He values the 10. Nomination.
It doesn't.
It does.
It doesn't. Did it devalue Best Picture? Do you think the worst Best Pictures over the last 3 years have won Best Picture?
Do you really want me to answer that question?
Yes, I'm answering a fucking question. This is the frustrating part of it all. If that can go to 10, everything can go to 10. It should all go
everything
to 10.
Should go to everything.
Yes, enough. If you're going to have more, that stands to reason, Jeff. If you have more things, therefore the rankings, there have to be more possible nominations, because I don't understand limiting the nominations but increasing the pool. That makes no fucking sense.
What happens, right? What happens when they say we're not going to do 10, but we're going to do 8, right?
Okay.
8. And this year it was James Cameron, Joseph Kosinski, and some other dude. And the All Quiet on the Western Front director.
Well, yeah.
Oh my God! We increased it. We increased it for the women, and their women weren't even nominated. Why did we do this?
Yeah. Then we got to go. All right. We need to take a look at the Academy and see what the problem is.
Or we just look at the kinds of movies that women are choosing to direct and getting the opportunity to direct.
Yeah.
Okay. If I saw a woman do All Quiet on the Western Front, she's going to get nominated. Do a big war movie.
A woman did do a big war movie. It was called The Woman King, and nobody nominated it. What are you talking about, Jeff?
I'm thinking of Catherine Bigelow. She gets nominated when she does war movies.
She's a white woman who James Cameron was her fucking ex-husband. Of course.
Directed. What do you want me to say? I took a fucking, you know what? I don't even know if I've admitted this. I took a fucking 20, 30-minute nap in the middle of The Woman King. I went to,
my God.
that's not the fault of the movie, but I'm just saying, I fucking took a nap in the middle of it.
I just, for once, I'd like you to admit sleeping through a white film, because as much as you admit sleeping through black films, just once I'd like you to
How
admit.
many black films I saw there? I saw The Woman King at 10:30 at night.
Why would you go see that 10:30?
There's 25 minutes of trailers. All of a sudden, it's 11 o'clock, and this movie's getting underway. It went to like 1:15. Yeah, I dozed off for about 20 minutes.
But, if this is a story, like, let's say this, if Michelle Williams does The Woman King, or Kate Winslet even, and she sacrificed and she spent all this money and she pitched it all over town and she got a female director to be with it and pushed it all over the place, and the end result was incredible, people would fall all over themselves to nominate her for Best Actress, for Best Picture, Best Director, all this kind of stuff. But it's because Viola Davis, and I do think it's a racist thing. It may not be overtly evil, mustache twirling racism, but racism has levels, Jeff.
You're insane. She's
No.
won an Oscar. Now, all of a sudden, after they brought in more people of color into the organization, now all of a sudden the organization's racist?
It still doesn't mean they brought enough people of color to maybe counter the white people who, as you just said earlier, won't watch certain movies because their sensibilities might be offended by it, or they don't necessarily want to watch a movie like it.
I think it. Oh, listen, again, that's the other thing that you were saying earlier that I had to think of. These people are working professionals, John. Our job is to watch movies. Their job is to make movies.
Yeah.
They may be in the academy, but these people do not have time to watch every single movie. It is a battle. Right. It is a battle to get in the fucking DVD player. That's what Davis One is all about. So if not enough people watch Danielle Deadweiler's movie, then that is on MGM. I mean, it's not on people who were
wait. You think if they mount a campaign, enough people are going to watch it? But there's a lot of people in multiple areas, and regardless of political affiliation, who are not willing to go and watch a movie about the racist stuff from the past in our country. They don't want to put themselves through it. So MGM could create the greatest campaign in the world, but I guarantee you a lot of people will not go see it, especially if you don't have any stars.
Okay, then I'll give you that point, John. But then it's then why do we greenlight it? Do we greenlight it?
Because you're hoping it'll make a difference. You're hoping it'll catch on, because some films have, like 12 Years a Slave, caught on. There's possibilities.
Whoever has seen Till, I don't know how you couldn't be affected by that movie, and so maybe it will affect change. But that doesn't mean it just automatically gets a nomination. I just don't understand.
I'm not saying automatic. But I think that's why your point is correct here about releasing the totals. We need to see the totals.
Right. How close was it?
And I would argue we need to see the totals with race breakdowns. And age breakdowns and gender, or however you identify breakdowns. I want to see full. If you're not going to give me your actual ballots, then give me all the stats. Fuck, I can get that for my YouTube videos. You goddamn tell me I can't get that for my votes for the Oscars. And if you can't see all the movies, get out of the Academy. Enough already. I think it undercuts the value of an Oscar. If you're telling me these people aren't even seeing all the movies, then how can I trust them?
All the movies, John. There's not enough time in the day. I haven't seen all the movies, and I'm a voracious movie watcher.
Well,
I haven't seen Living. Did you see Living?
No, I haven't gone to the theater. But if I was an Academy voter, I would make the time to see it. If I was an Academy voter, I would make the. I'm in the HCA, and I go and see as much as I can see before I vote on the stuff. Huh?
Did you vote for those awards?
Yes.
But you haven't seen Living. How could you? Why didn't you recuse yourself? It's impossible to watch all the fucking movies, John. That's the truth.
Fair enough. But I am not, how can I say this? If I was in the Academy, I think there'd be a different approach. I would work my ass off to see everything. Because I imagine the studios would want to send me screening links.
You think people in this town, John, are working their asses off to watch all the movies? They're working their asses off to make fucking movies and get rich.
So then let's stop talking about the Oscars as some kind of esteemed thing to get, because in the end, it's just about whoever watched the most movies that were available and then voted for the person. Then you're undercutting the award. And that's my point. If you can't watch all the movies and you're a member of the Academy and this is becoming an issue, then stop treating it like it's a great award to win, because it really isn't in the end. because it's not really authentic.
But the HCA award, that's authentic.
I didn't say that. I'm just saying all the awards, I think.
None of these fucking awards mean a fucking thing except for the Oscars, okay? That's the fucking truth. No one gives a shit when you die in your fucking obituary. It doesn't say 4-time PGA award winner. Nobody gives a shit.
That's a fair point.
3-time HCA award winner. No, it's not in the obituary.
It's not. All right, let's hit these super. Anything more you want to say about the Oscars? That was nice. That was invigorating. That was nice. Good. Anything more you want to say about that?
Our own fucking show. How does Penske own like 80 fucking million publications and he has 18 zillion people talking about the Oscars, right? You think that it's more? You think it's better than us? You think Tom O'Neill talking with fucking Todd McCarthy and Ann Thompson is more entertaining than us? It's fucking insane.
I agree.
Jim Penske, give us a call.
I agree 100%. Matt Boyle says, hey, Jeff, do you think the Scream franchise is secretly setting up Matthew Lillard to return?
That's what someone theorized. Someone said they recognized his voice.
Yeah, on the phone.
I really hope they don't do that. Like, I really hope that Ready or Not, the Ready or Not guys do not do that.
Ooh, I'm sweating through my glasses. I apologize, everybody.
I mean, did we see how he got fucking stabbed in Scream 1? Like,
yeah,
you're dead. You don't survive that.
Yeah, that's a fair point. Ronaldo McWhiskey saying support. Thank you, Don. Appreciate you watching whenever you can, my man. Thanks for the support. And Mike Joyce saying any Sundance movies you'd recommend we watch online through virtual Sundance. Is that still available, Jeff, to sign up for virtual Sundance?
I don't know. I think you can buy single tickets.
Okay.
Like anybody, I think, can just register for an account with Sundance and buy a single ticket.
Okay.
I mean, there's so many movies. If you want me to do a quick Sundance thing,
yeah, let's go through these first, and we'll swing back to that. I want you to do that, but let's swing back.
Okay,
let's get all these knocked out, and we'll swing back.
Don't worry.
Yeah, Mike Joyce, we'll get to your question. Look at all you guys. We have 350 of you watching right now. Send in some support. You're loving the back and forth. You're loving the 2 cents you're getting from me and Jeff. Send in your support through StreamLabs or Super Chats. Love Jagerburn says, Jeff, have you heard anything about Paddington 3?
Gonna star a bear. All I know.
Will the Queen?
I think in this one, if Cocaine Bear is a hit, you might see Paddington do some cocaine. We'll see.
I'm just waiting for Meghan Markle to show up in Paddington 3. Don't tell me that's not a possibility. It might be. 5150 Barrel says, John, in regards to Babylon, you mentioned on your Twitter that you were on board with the film up until they handed us a ridiculous ending between the 2 main characters that was borderline offensive. Was wondering if you could expand. I can't because that's a spoiler. So I'm not going to expand on that. But if you've seen the movie, there's an action near the end where one person throws it all away for someone else, and it is stupid. Absolutely stupid, not believable in any way, shape, or form, and it frustrated the piss out of me. Go ahead, yeah.
What are you talking about?
Babylon, the end of Babylon.
Oh, okay. I had no idea that's what we were talking about. Okay.
All right.
I didn't care for the last couple minutes of Babylon either.
Yeah. I thought that was like, hey, feel for people here. I thought it was off base. I'm Too Fly Cam says, I have to agree with Jeff. You can't expect a nomination for Women King. It was good, not quite great. Till should have been nominated, though. It was intense and heartbreaking. I am Too Fly Cam. Guess what? Someone will come along and tell you, I think Till was good, but not great. Women King was incredible and moving. So that's the thing there. It's all subjective.
Daniel deserved a nomination. I was very surprised Ana de Armas got it. I mean, yeah. I was more surprised about Ana de Armas than Andrea Riseborough, to be honest.
I'm not going to disagree with you. Listen, I want to champion all Latina actresses. It's really tough. We don't get a lot of opportunities to show what we can do out on the big screen. That being said, that film was an absolute slog. Talk about falling asleep for 20 minutes in the middle of it. That was an absolute slog to get through. I love her. I think she's a fantastic actress. I could never shake that it was Ana de Armas. I at least suspended it from Michelle Williams in My Week with Marilyn, but did not do that here.
I'll give you that. I stopped Blonde halfway through, so I have not seen an hour and a half. So
Blonde is a rough watch. All right. Do you want to give a Sundance rundown, and we'll take a break after you do that?
Okay, go ahead. If you're doing the online Sundance stuff, here's what I would recommend. I mean, the Michael J. Fox documentary I thought was excellent, but that is going to be out on Apple eventually.
Okay.
Jamo Jaya does not have distribution quite yet, I don't think. But I thought that was excellent. That's from Justin Chon, who did Blue Bayou with Alicia Vikander a couple years ago.
Yeah, that was a good
This
film.
is like a father-son tale starring Rich Brian. Have you ever heard of this guy? He's like an Indonesian rapper, I think.
Wow. No, I haven't.
He has like 2 million followers on Twitter or whatever. So he's a big celeb, but this is his first acting thing. I thought he was good. And the guy who played his father was great. Flora and Son, John Carney's new movie, the director of Once and Sing Street.
Okay.
That's with Eve Hewson, Bono's daughter, and Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
Oh, yeah.
That's excellent. That sold to Apple for like 20 million.
Yeah.
I didn't see Fair Play. I didn't see Cat Person. What's the other one that I would recommend? I mean, Magazine Dreams was worth seeing.
That's available online. I'm looking at it now. Magazine Dreams is available. Yeah.
Jonathan Majors gives the performance of the festival, but like there's a reason that movie hasn't sold yet. It's a tough sit. It's a tough watch. It's very off-putting. It's like Taxi Driver. I mean, I understand those comparisons. He could be in the awards race next year, but it's going to take a very savvy distributor to do that.
There are a lot of these films still available online up until the 29th. They're $20 per ticket, ladies and gentlemen. So you're going to be paying for a lot to see these movies. Little Richard, the documentary. I heard great things about that documentary that was there. What's the one that drove you insane that you thought was just ridiculous?
Do I want to mention it? I mean, it's the only movie in the midnight lineup that doesn't have distribution. And like, look, last year was a huge year for horror. I'm writing about the festival for LA Magazine tomorrow. And yeah, last year was a huge year for horror, and every single movie other than, one was picked up in the midnight section.
Yeah.
So I thought that was kind of interesting.
Okay. All right. There are a number of these ones to choose from, ladies and gentlemen, for $20. There's another one there's a bunch of them for 25 as well, but you got to add it to the cart to take a look and see what's available. So maybe the more higher end ones are available for 25. So take a look at those as well. Yeah. Steph has a documentary. Steph Curry has a documentary as well that was at Sundance.
Yeah.
All right, let's take a quick break. We'll jump into more stuff and send in your StreamLabs and SuperChats while we take this break right after this. All right, Jeff, I had to take a breather there. It was a great way to start, but now I got to, it was a good warm up. Now we got to get into the actual workout.
All right. So, let me get the button ready. Okay. So you mentioned a movie earlier. We're going to talk. The scoop is about its director.
Okay.
This is an Oscar-winning director. No, it's an Oscar-winning writer.
Okay.
Oscar-winning writer.
Okay.
Whose movie won Best Picture.
Oh.
And I'm talking about my man, Tom McCarthy. Tom McCarthy, the director of Spotlight,
yes,
I'm told, is teaming with Ed Brubaker, the legendary comic book artist, to adapt Pulp, which is his, it's like a violent kind of Western sort of thing.
Yes.
You get the official log line here. Set in a world on the brink, it's described as one part thriller, one part meditation on a life of violence and a celebration of all things pulp. Story follows a guy named Max Winters, a pulp writer in 1930s New York, who finds himself drawn into a story, much like the tales he's known for telling, of an outlaw, justice with a six-shooter in the Wild West. But when Max finds himself pursued by bank robbers, Nazi spies, and enemies from his past, the question is whether he'll be able to do the same. McCarthy and Brubaker are writing this one together. If the script comes out good, then McCarthy will direct it. And it's not set up anywhere quite yet. This is something that they're doing on their own, but I believe that their first stop is going to end up being Legendary.
Oh, wow. Okay. I like that. Look, Westerns are slowly making a little bit of a comeback here. You see it now with the stuff that Taylor Sheridan is doing. We've got other avenues where Westerns are Outer Range on Prime Video. There's a number of these Western, whether modern or set back in olden times there, that have come forward and are being part of the conversation more and more. And I can't think that it isn't a reaction to things that are happening in our world. This idea of going back to where we kind of, toughed it out and we're we weren't so soft and, our fingernails got dirty doing real work and building things. And I can't help to think that isn't a reaction to that we're getting a little too caught up in technology, caught up in the social media stuff. And there's this element of people here in this country that want to go back to that time and are gravitating to this kind of entertainment. Tulsa King had that kind of rougher vibe to it as well. Tyler Sheridan as well. So, I mean, not a surprise. And this makes so much sense. People are liking this stuff.
You know what? I should even update my story because that's a great point that you brought up. Stuff like Tulsa King and Yellowstone and these kinds of this time when men could be men kind of thing,
Yeah.
a throwback to the Wild West. And I think you're right. That this is kind of in that vein. Tom McCarthy strikes me as he's like a very sensitive director. I mean, The Station Agent, The Visitor. This guy makes, he makes great movies. The only one that is a real head scratcher is The Cobbler. Like I was going through his filmography. Like, wait, God, he directed The Cobbler. Like, how did that happen? But like otherwise, I love Win-Win. You ever see that one? The wrestling one?
Yeah, the Ryan Gosling one. That was good with Paul Giamatti. Yeah, absolutely.
It's not Gosling, but
who was it?
It's a kid who didn't really go on to work much else beyond that. But anyways, like Tom McCarthy has a great track record to me. If he's involved in something, I want to pay attention to it. A lot of people loved Alaska Daily. I didn't watch that show.
I do watch that show. I like Alaska Daily. It's not great, but it's an ABC procedural. I like it for what it is. And Hillary reminding you once again what a great fucking actress she is, and no one is using her. It's supremely frustrating.
Yeah, like how many 1 hour network dramas are you watching? So like the fact that you're even watching that, I think speaks volumes. Yeah. I just think Tom McCarthy is very talented. And you guys know I'm not a big comic book person, but of the comic books that I read on the reg or whatever, Killer Be Killed and Criminal are two of them, and those are both Brubaker. So I have very limited experience in comics, but the experience that I have, it is Ed Brubaker for the most part, and he's fucking awesome. So
I'm telling you, I think people are gravitating back to, for lack of a better term, this feeling of manhood. And it isn't about toxic masculinity. It's about manhood, embracing the things that make us men. And there's nothing wrong with that. It doesn't mean we have to abuse women or be racist or whatever. It's about embracing manhood yet again, being strong enough to defend things, being strong enough to fight for things. These are things we're coming back to. And I think across all political spectrums, you're seeing this move towards that. And I think these studios are reading the tea leaves and seeing that there's a massive audience for this kind of stuff. Look, you could even argue Gerard Butler. Who else am I thinking? The other two guys, Frank Grillo. They do these films that have the harder manhood edge to them, and people gravitate to them. I mean, Gibson's found second life doing those films that don't make a lot of money, but they make enough money for him to keep supporting himself and doing whatever he wants to do. Vince Vaughn sliding into that kind of stuff, so that idea of manhood is coming back, and there's a real reaction to what people think is going too far into the sensitive man. And I think there's nothing wrong with that. It's a good balance here,
Everything is cyclical, I don't watch those kinds of I love Tulsa King, but I didn't watch Yellowstone. I mean, the Wild West is kind of hit and miss for me. But I like this pairing, and we'll see what happens. I don't know if it'll land at Legendary or if they'll end up taking it elsewhere or what. But on paper, I like this. We can move on.
Cheryl says, with that statement, John still wondered why women directors of women-led films aren't getting nominated. LOL. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing at all, because none of those films that were nominated were man films. None of those directors were making man movies. So
the other thing that is crazy to me is, did a woman not win Best Director last year?
Last 2 years, right?
Jane Campion won for Power of the Dog, right?
Yeah, and Chloe Zhao for Nomadland, right?
And what won Best Picture last year?
Power of the Dog.
Movie directed by
Coda, right? Coda, yes.
Directed movie directed by a woman. Like, I'm just like, we can't go. That can't be our first instinct. Is Oscars so white? Oscars so male? Like, it's so fucking. It's bullshit. This is just how it shook out this year, guys. It didn't go that way last year. It didn't go that way the year before. Like, what the fuck?
So I get your frustration. I get it. But here's the deal: when the scales balance out, then you can have this idea of it's just the way it shook out. But the scales have to balance, Jeff.
They're never going to be balanced. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert.
I know.
They're never going to be balanced.
I know. You're right. All right. Let's see. What else do we want to get into here? Any other scoops you've got for us, Jeff?
No.
Okay.
No. We can talk about the one that just broke. Ayo Edebiri from The Bear joining Thunderbolts.
Yes. That is. We should get into some Marvel casting here across the board. As you said, Ayo Edebiri from Bear joining Thunderbolts, but there is no idea of who she's playing, right? We don't know who she's playing. They're keeping that under wraps. We don't know what's going to be happening in Thunderbolts necessarily. So is she going to have a part to play that's connected to the actual Thunderbolts? Is she a Secret Service type of agent? Is she an intelligence? What is her role here? but we don't know yet what she's going to be playing. But hey, I love this idea of bringing more people of color into the MCU. Tessa Thompson said it years ago that Kevin Feige was really going to focus on diversifying the MCU, and we're seeing that happen now a lot over these last phase and into these new phases as well. And also Captain America New World Order got some new casting as well, with Shira Haas was added earlier, right? But you've got more people.
Wait, Shira Haas joined what?
Shira Haas has joined the cast of Captain America New World Order. Sabra, okay. Right? Yeah.
Now it's Zosha Rockamore.
Right. Zosha Rockamore is the newer actress that's been added to the Captain America forecast. So what is she going to play? Is she going to be another superhero? Is she going to be another agent? Is she going to be a possible, and don't get mad at me for this, possible love interest for Sam? I don't know. All these things are possible here as you're playing it out. So it's very curious because he's supposed to be bringing his own team to this situation and having these other characters popping up in the movie. So I like it. I think all around it's good stuff for sure. Let me swing over to DC for you here, Jeff. James Gunn taking some shit for Titans and for the Doom Patrol being canceled. Are DC fans going too far? This is not all James's decisions, but him weighing in on this again. Stop going into Twitter, James. Leave it alone. Let them rage and eat themselves up, man. You're gonna put out the product, and they're gonna fucking come see it.
I don't even know what he said. I haven't been paying attention to it all.
Okay.
Because it was just so obvious that these shows were going to be thrown away or whatever. Yeah, he definitely needs to stop addressing every little thing. That's for sure. Even if it's from someone legit, just like that's what you have PR people for.
This guy has 55 followers on Twitter. I don't know. And he has no notice of what he writes, something called the gamerholics.com, and the account is suspended apparently when you click on it there on his profile. But James still felt the need to come down with a guy with 55 followers and say, the decision in the series precedes us, but I certainly wish the best for the talented group of creators, actors, and the rest of the crew. When you dignify it, then it carries weight. Then people go, oh, what are you doing? What, why are you commenting if it's not real? And it's so frustrating. Stop doing this, man.
So Gunn said that the decision preceded him. Like it
was. That it was basically Zaslav had already made the decision is what he's trying to say. Yeah.
I mean, listen, you're starting over with the DCU. I don't know why you'd want to have these two shows. I mean, like who, come on.
Yeah. Even me as way below James Gunn, I look at who's responding to my stuff. And if they have 25, 35 followers, I'm not responding to it. If they're instigating or purposely trying to start a fight, I try not to respond because it just dignifies them with a response and they get what they want. It doesn't make sense.
The question can come from anywhere. I think, I'm fine with that. I don't like look and say, oh, this guy has how many followers? 30. I only respond to people with 40 followers and above. That's not how I do it. But I think you're right that in general, James Gunn should just, speak when you got something to really say, man.
Yeah, exactly.
It could be any day now. Could be tomorrow. Could be Monday or Tuesday. He was supposed to announce a lot of stuff by the end of the month.
Yeah.
Now, as far as the DCU stuff goes, John, I mean, what are your expectations? Because what I'm expecting is really like he's probably going to announce that he's directing Superman, and then maybe he'll announce one or two other movies, or maybe 2 or 3 other movies with some directors attached. I don't know how much we're going to get in the way of casting and all that.
I think with all this shit that's going down, because apparently Fire James Gunn was trending on Twitter today, the hashtag. I don't know if I would release anything. You know what I'm saying? I would tell them to kiss my fucking ass and it'll come out when it comes out. Of course, that's not good company speak to do that. But like, I hopefully it's scary because once you announce it, especially given WB's track record of canceling projects after they announce them, you're just opening the door up again to possibly having a situation where that film gets canceled or doesn't come to its fruition. And then you're back to being like, oh, see, DC's unstable. They don't know what they're doing. So I would announce the least amount of films that I could announce. And only when I've got someone completely signed and committed to the film would I announce any casting or directing or producing or writing or what have you with it. So that's the way I would go about it. But yeah, I think his Superman, if he's writing it, and I know some people are upset about that, if he's writing it and he should direct it, that should be his announcement. He should say, we are building off of this. This is the tent pole in the ground. Everything will stem off of this. And we're going to create something great for you all. Here are the possibilities that we're looking at. Not saying that we're going to actually put them in motion, just saying these are some of the characters we're looking at. Get the fans excited. Don't commit to anything. That's what I would do.
I know he's there to build the DC universe, right? It's the DCU, but I just do wish like he would just focus on making one good movie. Just make a good Superman movie, and then we can figure out a universe from that.
Yeah.
I don't need the whole universe seated in that movie, but whatever.
Yeah.
They
announced 7 Power Rangers movies, and it never came to fruition. So just one at a time. All right. What do you got? What do you got?
What do we got? Let me go back to the list here.
Here, let me throw something out at you. Tobey Maguire, this was on Variety, said that he would be interested in doing a 5th Spider-Man movie. Do you believe him, given Tobey's reputation for definitely walking his own path? And do you think would you want to see that?
No. No. Tom Holland is Spider-Man. Like Tobey Maguire, you had a good run. I'm sure Tobey Maguire does want to. I'm sure he is open to another Spider-Man movie. He gets a shitload of money and he becomes relevant overnight. Like Tobey Maguire, not exactly doing a whole lot if you hadn't noticed in the last few years outside of that Spider-Man movie. Not that maybe he can't. Right. Saying.
No, I think Tobey's rich and he picks and decides what, because his cameo, for lack of a better term, in Babylon is one of the most unsettling sequences I've ever seen in a film in the last 20 years. So I think there are certain things that will pique his interest, but he likes to come back and do Spider-Man when he can, it seems like. So.
Crazy Tobey. Like, I love that Pawn Sacrifice, like where he's crazy Bobby Fischer. Like,
oh my God.
Got a little edge to him.
That's a great movie, by the way. If you guys don't know that movie, Tobey Maguire playing Bobby Fischer to Liev Schreiber's, I forget the Russian guy's name. It's such a good movie, man.
That's Stephen Knight that directed that?
I think so.
You just read it.
I watched it on Hulu, man. It was great.
Okay, there's rumors about Ryan Gosling playing Sentry in the MCU. People tell me he's like a Superman kind of adjacent kind of thing. I mean, maybe. I haven't heard anything like that. Obviously, I'd heard some Gosling Fantastic Four stuff, but like, why Sentry? If you're this guy's agent and the X-Men is casting and Fantastic Four is casting and then James Gunn's casting an entire DCU, why are you playing a character named Sentry that I've never really heard of in Thunderbolts? Why?
Well, I think because it can be a one-off, and it doesn't mean that he's necessarily committed to all these MCU films. Some actors, I mean, even Joaquin, who was in negotiation for Doctor Strange, he only wanted to do one Doctor Strange movie, and I think that's possibly some of why he didn't end up being the choice. And look at him doing Joker, and it made $1 billion, which I'm sure he didn't anticipate. And now, okay, I'll come back and do a sequel, but certainly he probably didn't have a plan of doing a sequel for Joker himself, but the money demands it. But with this situation here with Sentry, a lot of interesting places you can go with Sentry. He's a much more, how can I say this? He's a much more emotionally tortured superhero, yet he's got the power of like a million exploding suns. That's who Sentry is. And it's an interesting Superman character that has much more angst. There's mental health issues with him. There's PTSD stuff with him. So there's more to play with, I guess, for an actor like Ryan Gosling, maybe to kind of bring his talent to bear and bring some emotional life that excites him as an actor into a character like this. That's my just initial thoughts.
I think that's a perfectly reasonable theory that he may only just want to do one of these and get in and get out, which you can't do obviously if you're a major X-Men or Fantastic Four character.
Right.
That's plausible. Sure. I don't know what the plan for Sentry is in the MCU.
Yeah. But he's been a part of Secret Invasion. He's a part of Savage Land, which is something that Feige teased as a possibility. He's even been a part of the Dark Avengers. If they go that route,
suggesting that like we're going to meet Sentry in the Secret Invasion TV show.
Maybe
like already shot something. That someone has already shot something.
Could be something. Could be an allusion to Sentry for sure.
I mean, has Gosling said anything about the Ghost Rider stuff? Is that why people keep saying it in the chat? And
I don't think he has, but I think
he might have said, like if I had to play a superhero, it'd be Ghost Rider. But again, I think we've addressed this before. If you're Marvel, why are you casting Ryan Gosling and then setting his head on fire? Like, the whole point is your face. So I don't know about that one. But again, it's Ryan Gosling. He can probably play whatever the fucking character he wants.
Yeah, it's true. He's Ryan Gosling.
Haven't heard anything about Chloe Grace Moretz. Somebody said that in the chat, but
okay.
I do love Chloe. What else do we got, Johnny? We got.
I mean, do you want to talk about the big thing? Do you want to talk about the Letterboxd Oscars thing?
If that's the big thing to you, sure. I mean, it really, it's just like Letterboxd is. I wouldn't call it like the new IMDb because it serves a different function, obviously.
Right.
But it has almost risen to a similar prominence, right? Like an IMDb. I don't use Letterboxd. It seems like it could be a helpful thing if I didn't have my own methodology on blogspot.com, which I know is like saying, guys, follow me on Friendster. I know that's what it sounds like, but I'm not changing. And that's the thing. I'm stubborn. I'm set in my ways and I'm old. I'm not going over to Letterboxd when I have a perfectly good blog spot that I've been doing for 20 fucking years. You know? But I know people love it. And so I think it makes sense for the Academy. I think it's a way to attract the youth, like rather than having to do an audience award and all that stupid garbage that they did last year. Yeah. Letterboxd is just going to be creating content for the show and to drive, interest and stuff like that and awareness.
I think it's a very interesting decision by the Academy because it's what have they been clamoring for is ratings. What has been the criticism? They're not appealing to the younger demographic with their approach to the Oscars. So what's a great way to do that? Go to the grassroots. And Letterboxd is essentially grassroots. It's a bunch of people who are, regular people who are reviewing, who are not in the business necessarily. Not all of them, but certainly some are, but not all of a majority of them are not in the business of reviewing and criticism or, make a living at it. But they love movies and they love to talk about movies. And certainly Letterboxd has curated that over the last few years. I know a couple of friends of mine, like Brian Formo and what have you, who work as editors there at Letterboxd. And so they're aware of it. I've never joined it because I was already doing it for Collider and doing it for my own channel. So I never thought to join it. But I know a lot of people joined it for the Schmodown. A lot of people were watching what your competitor was watching on Letterboxd as a way of having an idea of what they know and don't know. So I know people used that in the Schmodown. So it was very interesting approach that people took. I know some of our friends in the Schmodown who are critics are on Letterboxd. So some people have been a part of it.
Broadcast every movie that I see. I guess I do. That's what the blog spot's for. But I guess it's a nice presentation that Letterboxd puts together and everything. I just don't know what makes it different than like the IMDb user ratings or the Rotten Tomatoes audience scores. It's
I think because this is more, how can I say? I think this is more, you can connect it. Like there's a more direct line. You're having a more direct line. And the fact that they're going to have people, they're going to have these actors and actresses and directors and producers reading the best reviews about their films on the podcast. It makes the fans who have written these reviews, these junior reviewers or these non-professional reviewers, feel like, hey, I'm being heard. My opinion matters. So I get the logic of it all, but I do think it's a bit of pandering by the Academy to get these people on their side and get more viewership. It's a smart move, though. I'm not going to fault it, and Letterboxd has certainly earned it by how hard they've worked over the last few years to curate and attract people to be a part of their program.
Yeah, listen, I have no problem with Letterboxd. I'm sure it's a fine service that a lot of people get a lot of good use out of. It's just not something that I need or that I am interested in.
Yeah, fair enough. Someone wanted to know if James Gunn was calling you. Is that who that was?
No.
Lord Baratheon says, Jeff, do you have any Fantastic Forecasting news?
No.
All right, there we go. Good answer. All right, let's hit some of these Streamlabs here. Hassani says, any info on Matt Chapman's sci-fi Netflix film Mothership starring Halle Berry? It was previewed as a part of the 2022 film slate, but never came out, and it's not a part of the 2023 film slate trailer Netflix recently released.
Really?
Yeah.
I think it will be out. I don't know why they wouldn't put that movie out, especially if Halle Berry's in it. I mean, her other movie did very well, I feel like, on the service.
Yeah.
So listen, again, 2.5 minutes.
right? That's how long the
Yeah.
Netflix thing was, right?
Yeah.
You can't put every movie in there, and it may have been a little. You may want to keep The Mother and The Mothership separate because Jennifer Lopez has a movie, The Mother, right? And that was a big thing for them.
Yeah,
It may honestly just be a little confusing. I don't know what will happen or if that movie's been disappeared or what, but I can't imagine that would be the case.
Alan Smithy said, John, Jeff, happy Hot Mic Thursday. Speaking of award shows, how do you guys feel about the Razzies? Should they be canceled, especially in light of the Firestarter snafu? No. Isn't it a good thing to have one award show give Hollywood some shit? I even won one once. Well, there you go.
Yes, it is. I think that the Razzies, for all the shit that they get, are necessary.
Yes.
We need these actors need a fucking reality check, and they need to have their ego taken down a little bit when they do bad work. Yeah. And everybody does it. You know, some of the biggest stars and all Oscar-winning talents have Razzies as well. Sandra Bullock. I think she had fun with it. Did she accept hers in person, Sandra?
Yeah, Bullock? I think Halle Berry and Sandra Bullock accepted in person. Yeah,
I don't. It's just not like a huge insult. I agree that it was kind of unnecessary to put a 12-year-old girl on there.
Yes,
you're crossing the line a little bit.
Right.
I just don't get what that's all about. But now they've instituted some kind of age limit, right? What is it?
Yeah, I think it's 17 or something like 18, something like that. Possible or 16, I think is what the age limit is. But I 100% agree. Look, the Razzies can criticize, therefore the Razzies must be available to be criticized. So I think it was right for people to call them out. Whoever that guy is, that John Wilson guy who looks like Bobby Moynihan doing a cosplay of something, that guy, I respect the fact that they started this thing because you're right. There's nothing wrong with taking the piss out of Hollywood. And I saw some people tweeting about how the Razzies need to go away. Y'all need to get off this soft kick, man. If you're gonna put something out, guess what? It's not gonna get its ass kissed all the time. Sometimes it needs to get its ass kicked. That's the game. Stop complaining about the game. If you put yourself out there, you're putting yourself out there for praise and criticism. You cannot have one without the other. This is not mommy and daddy holding your hands. This is the real world. This is the adult world, and that's the way it works. You're going to criticize sports heroes. You're going to criticize movies. This is the game. You criticize politicians. You criticize your own parents. You criticize your own friends. That's the game, for God's sake.
And she can be criticized by a critic, I think.
Yes,
right?
Yes.
That's fair to criticize her performance in a review. But yeah, as an award show, particularly that one where it's like we're not really trying to suss out what is the actual worst, because obviously there's zillions of movies made starring actors you've never heard of, and those are the real worst performances and worst movies of the year because they're unwatchable. But anyways, that's the Razzies for you.
What about this Chloe Bennett stuff? Do you think she's going to come back as Quake in the MCU? Do you know anything about this? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. A lot of people thought she might be coming. She kind of hinted. She responded to somebody on Twitter saying your tweets are not going to age well.
You think that your tweets aren't going to age well because I've been cast in a big thing and you're going to hear all about it soon? Or it's like your tweets are going to age well because you're just basically an asshole?
Maybe that one. I don't know if the MCU will bring her. And the thing is, the tweets, the only way the tweets don't age well is if they actually bring you back to play the character legitimately in a movie, not in Secret Wars where everybody is coming back. If they bring you back to continue and connect up Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which they only kind of connected with Samuel L. Jackson in the first season, then maybe we can have that conversation. I like Chloe Bennett. I just think I don't know if necessarily they're going to bring her back for Quake. If you guys haven't seen Abominable, she does a great job in Abominable, voicing over the main character. I like her as an actress.
I don't see it happening. Okay, we got a few more things. We're not going to be able to talk about we can't just squeeze in the Rust conversation. So we're going to have to talk about that later.
Okay, that's fine.
Real quick, Infinity Pool, which I saw. I know some of you are probably planning to see it this weekend. You're going to get the R-rated cut. I saw the NC-17 cut at Sundance. I was the critic who hated it the most. Surprise, surprise. I mean, it's not that it was a torturous experience, but it's just what is the point of this at the end? What is the story that is being told here? Or is it's basically just lurid garbage? It's just shock for the sake of shock. Do I need to see Alexander Skarsgård ejaculating in this movie? No. It really doesn't serve the story at all. It's one thing, in Bad Lieutenant, but I just thought this was
I don't know, crass for being crass's sake. I didn't like the story either. What story it was.
All right. Scott Menzel agrees with you. He said it's one of the most god-awful movies he's seen in years, one of the worst films over the past decade. So
it's a step backwards. For Brandon Cronenberg, whose Possessor I really did like. Yeah. Man from U.N.C.L.E. sequel. Yes, true or false? Is this happening, John?
I don't think it's happening. No, I know Cavill is hot, but Cavill's been, removed from 2 franchises either by his own hand or by someone else's hand. So I don't think he's as hot as you think he is. I mean, you're the one that told me nobody wanted to see him as Superman. So how do people want to go back and see an underperforming a sequel to an underperforming film like The Man from U.N.C.L.E.? I love Guy Ritchie. I like
maybe this is Warner's way, and again, I don't know if this is real. Maybe they're just saying, Henry, we're gonna pay someone to write a script. We're developing it. We're looking into it for you or whatever.
Yeah,
but like maybe it's their way of making it up to him, right? You're not going to be Superman anymore, but we did that movie Man from U.N.C.L.E. Like that performed okay. I like the movie. I know a lot of people didn't, but they had an opportunity also to elevate it by pairing him with someone different this time, because it's obviously not going to be Armie Hammer. Right. So it's you can get someone who's even bigger than Henry or on his level. He's a bigger star now. He was not nearly as big a star back then. So, you'd have to expect that the opening would be bigger.
Get on my level. Look, the budget was $84 million for this thing and made 107, Jeff. It did not do well at the box office. So I don't know why you do a sequel for this. I guess maybe to make it up to Henry, but
yeah.
I don't know. I don't know if Henry's a lead in films. I love him as Superman. That's a different situation. I put that outside of the realm of regular stuff. I don't know if Henry is necessarily the lead to attract people to go and see a film. I don't know.
Why does that movie cost $80 million though? Like, why can't you do something like The Hitman's Bodyguard? Like, those movies don't cost $80 million, right?
No, they don't.
Cost half that.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So like, if you can make Man from U.N.C.L.E. 2 for 40 or 50 million, I don't know. I feel like it might be worth it depending on the co-star.
That's a conversation for Guy Ritchie for you to have with Guy Ritchie, because I think they shot all over Europe. I think that's why it cost as much as they did, and they probably stayed in the nicest hotels so that they could shoot it at the time.
All right, we got a few more things. Poker Face. Are you going to watch it?
Yes, absolutely. As soon as my girlfriend gets back home, we're going to start watching this thing. I've been going crazy to watch this thing.
It's okay. So now I can finally fucking talk about it. I don't know why Peacock decided to hold reviews until like basically the day of or the day before it came out. I should have been talking about this show for 3 weeks, getting people excited and getting people to subscribe. Like, it's just insane to me, these fucking embargoes, all in the name of what? Fairness. We got to be fair. We got to make it more inclusive. Dude, if there's a million shows that I got to watch and I watch your show first, I should be able to fucking talk about it then and there, not have to wait a month and then forget everything. It's just so stupid, these fucking embargoes. Poker Face is fantastic.
Yeah.
She is amazing. The guest stars are great. It's just the soundtrack is great. The energy is great. If you prefer Knives Out in those movies to this, I can't talk to you.
It's the same person. It's Rian Johnson.
Exactly. It's so much better than Knives Out. That's why it is way better than Knives Out. Give me a break.
All right. How many episodes is this one?
I think it's 10 episodes. I've seen 6.
Okay. Are they all an hour long?
Yeah.
How good is Adrian Brody?
Good.
Okay.
My favorites were Judith Light and Esapatha Murkerson, though.
Oh, nice. Now, what about Shrinking? Did you see Shrinking on Apple TV?
I watched the first episode. I didn't love it. It's getting mixed reviews. Some reviews are like being very effusive with the praise, and others are like, this is no Ted Lasso, and this is really like kind of saccharine. And
what do they think Ted Lasso is? Ted Lasso is pretty saccharine. I mean, for fuck's sake. Come on now. It's not a deep, deep show, Ted Lasso. It's a moving show. It's a touching show. It's an inspiring show.
Did you watch Shrinking? Did you watch anything? Did you watch it at all?
Shrinking? Not yet. No. That's on the list. This weekend is that. I mean, other than the AFC and NFC championship games, the rest of my weekend is watching both of those shows as much as I can.
Yeah. And yes, Judith Light from Who's the Boss, Seattle.
Yes. She's been working consistently, Seattle. Where have you been? Judith Light's been all over the place. Get on board, man. Get on her level, dude.
The thing about Shrinking, so I saw some review that pointed out though. So like in the very first scene, I'm not like spoiling anything. You see him like he's got some girls in the pool with him, and he's got drugs and he's drinking. Right, he's an addict and he's in pain. And then you don't see that anywhere else.
right? It's like,
right.
You're setting up this guy's an addict.
Oh,
And you don't actually see him struggling with the addiction at all. It's just,
yeah.
the one scene. And that's, listen, I didn't love what I saw from the first episode, but I'm willing to keep going.
Okay. All right. But you've only seen one, so maybe it'll come back as the episodes go along. Possibly.
Yeah, if I stopped watching The Wire after one episode. Amazon is doing a new series based on the Day of the Triffids. Did you ever read that book or see that movie?
I saw the old school movie. Yeah, Day of the Triffids. What a great British horror film. There's not a lot of British horror back then, but the ones that broke through, that was a fun one to watch.
You were there opening day, right? 1950.
Yes, I took a break. I took a break from prep school, went there in my knickers, and I watched that fucking movie.
Dennis Lehane has signed a first look deal or an overall deal, I forget which, with Apple TV. I really like Blackbird. I mean, this is obviously coming in the wake of Blackbird. You like Blackbird, right?
I did, yeah. And Paul Walter Hauser, a much well-deserved award for that one.
Dennis Lehane, a great writer, obviously the writer of Mystic River and what's the other one? The big one.
Is that my daughter?
Shutter Island. Huh?
Yeah, Shutter Island is terrible. I don't like Shutter Island. So
the book is much better than the movie.
Okay.
The book is fantastic. Madonna, the biopic. One of our readers, right? We have
one of our super chats came through. Let me see if I can find it. But keep talking about it. I'll put it up.
One of our we got asked a question about Madonna last week, and I had said there really hasn't been any movement on that, right? Yeah. And then sure enough, this week, Universal basically came out and admitted this movie is not moving forward right now. Now, Madonna's people were like, oh, she's going on tour. She's focused on that. Boris, I thought, did a great story and dug up some actually interesting details where it's they couldn't get the script under 180 pages. So, they couldn't really. And they were like, oh, do we do it as 2 movies? Do we do it as like a 10-part series sort of thing? I don't even know where you would put that series. Like, you put that on Peacock? You can't do that. You can't put Madonna's fucking biopic on Peacock. So... it just sounds like they could never really get the script to a place where the studio is like, all right, we want to make this movie. Right. I'm sure that there was always reluctance about making the movie with her, whether they signed her to direct or not. It may have just been something where they got to give her the first crack. I still couldn't believe that she was actually going to direct her own biopic. And there's so many great female directors right now, and it should be a female director or a gay man.
Yeah.
It should be either one, but why not? Greta Gerwig would crush this, no?
Yeah, Greta Gerwig would absolutely crush this for sure. But she's doing the Barbie stuff. So is she done with the Barbie stuff to move on to? I don't know.
You're going to be wrapping up in the next couple of months. Yeah.
What about Maria Schrader for She Said? Couldn't she bring a little more depth to something like this?
Yeah. I mean, listen, potentially, and obviously Universal has a relationship with her. I just you have the right actress.
Yeah.
So go. When you have the right actress, go.
Yeah.
Now, obviously, Rami Malek won an Oscar for Queen and everything, but how many of us would have loved to see Sacha Baron Cohen play Freddie Mercury?
Yeah, right.
That's an example of you have the fucking guy, go. Yeah. In this case, it worked out for the Bohemian Rhapsody people, but I really hope that that Universal prioritizes this and tries to rescue it somehow, because I think Julia Garner would be great.
Yeah, agreed. Real quick, Doug Developer has a Streamlab here. Hi, guys. It was cool that when Michelle Yeoh and Stephanie Hsu's names were called during the announcement that they got the loudest responses. Does that mean anything in the long run regarding their Oscar chances? No. Or it is all just a nothing burger? Yeah, we didn't even mention whether Michelle Yeoh is actually going to win or if it's going to be Cate Blanchett. What is your feeling on this?
I think it's a close call. Yeah. I think Cate Blanchett's going to win because she does undeniable work. And that is the word that it comes down to. Undeniable that it was just amazing, right? The best performance I think she's given and the best performance anyone gave this year. But I think in general, they would love to see Michelle Yeoh on that stage.
Okay. All right. Tron 3, what can you say?
All I've heard is that the script is not great, but Disney is, committed to making this movie mainly because they've got a ride coming out, a new Tron ride.
Okay.
And so it's listen, if we can make this movie maybe a little bit cheaper than we made the last one, it basically serves as a giant ad, for the ride. My battery is dying, so we're running out of time here. I want to say that the Barbarian director, Zach Kreger, sold a script and a project. Basically, he's going to make $10 or $12 million to write and direct a new movie. It's a horror thriller on a wide scale thing with a massive ensemble. It's basically Magnolia for horror fans. Amazing.
Yeah, it's going to be called Weapons. It's called Weapons. So yeah. That's very interesting. What a jump.
Love the idea of Magnolia, anything with different genres.
Yeah. Oof, good money.
Give me the Magnolia superhero movie. We'll save that. We'll save the Bond thing for next week. Let's
all right.
save that. And then
what about the Justin Roiland thing? Do you want to say anything about that? The guy from Rick and Morty
on Shazam 2 or whatever. Yeah, I mean Justin Roiland, the co-creator of Rick and Morty, was charged with 2 felonies, actually. Stemming from a domestic violence incident. Obviously has not been proven guilty, but nonetheless, everyone has, cut their ties with him, and understandably so.
Yeah.
It's no, like, this is what happens, guys. It's one thing when you're alleged to have been whatever, but when you're charged, that makes it a little bit more real. And I don't blame, all these companies from walking away from him, including Hulu. Where he has Solar Opposites and Koala Man.
Yeah, right, exactly, which is under the Disney umbrella. So yeah, that speaks volumes about him. And I just started watching some Rick and Morty for the first time ever the other day because of this situation. I was like, well, what's his voice sound like? And I just started, and I was like, man, this is actually a damn good show. But it's a shame to have that situation put out there for sure. Yeah, the text messages, that does not help that situation.
And someone else, they're going to find people to do those voices. I don't think those voices are terribly hard.
All right, maybe I'll submit myself.
Willem Dafoe reteaming with Robert Eggers for Nosferatu. We don't know what kind of role he's going to be playing, but obviously he's been great with Eggers.
Will it be in sepia tone or will it be in black and white? What do you think?
I don't know. I have no idea how they plan to shoot that one. And then final thoughts before we sign off. What do you think of that Shazam 2 trailer, John?
I actually liked it. I'm not the biggest fan of the first Shazam movie. I thought it was a little too silly because I like my Shazam a little more like Kingdom Come Shazam. But this one having a little bit of a dark turn in the last half of the trailer, I thought was great. He almost looked like half Black Adam, half Shazam there. So I thought that was interesting as well. So for me, the way it went down by the end of the trailer, I'm on board. I want to see what we've got here. What did you think?
This looks like another Black Adam, but like with a likable character at its center. It's just like just stuff is happening. Just like characters are doing this, things are flying and beasts and monsters and just crazy lights and colorful and jokes. And I'm just like, overload. I don't know what's happening here. I'll probably see it, but whatever.
It's clearly is a journey he's on a journey. He's questioning whether he should be a hero. We've seen that many times in many movies.
Original stuff.
Exactly. But by the end, it seems like he's making a decision, and it almost looks like he's sacrificing himself. His friend there, Archangel's being like, don't do this. What are you doing? So could be interesting that if Zachary's been swerving us all and he dies at the end of Shazam, to give James Gunn and Peter Safran the opportunity to bring him back or to not bring him back, that could be really interesting. For sure. So
let's add Rustin Bond to the list next week and wrap up.
Okay, that's it. We're out of here. Thank you all so much for the StreamLabs Super Chats. Thanks for watching this show. Please subscribe to the channel. I am trying to get to 50,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I am giving you quality entertainment with great people like Jeff Sneider. All the shows here have fantastic co-hosts who bring great knowledge to the subjects we talk about, doing way better than me. I'm an idiot. These guys are way smarter. They make me look good being a part of these shows with them. So please subscribe to the channel to enjoy all the great stuff you get from them and all the stuff we do here on the Outlaw Nation channel. Jeff, another fun show here on the Hot Mic. Please let people know where they can find you.
AboveTheLine.com for all the fun, exciting scoops and stuff. BTLnews.com. We've had a bunch of reviews this week from Abe Friedtanzer from Sundance. He did some good work for us. LAMag.com. Hopefully I'll have my Sundance piece up tomorrow. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Abe Friedtanzer, not Abe Froman. That's the Sausage King of Chicago. As for me, you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. The Outlaw Nation on Twitch. And look for all the stuff coming up over the next few days here on the Outlaw Nation channel as well. And y'all take care of yourselves. Be well. Have a good weekend. Don't forget about the AFC NFC Championship games. And we'll talk to you next time with another brand new episode here of the Hot Mic. And much love to Above the Line for powering and sponsoring us here on the Hot Mic. Peace.